Hello, fellow mutants.
Hello, Fellow Mutants. Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to talk about what are the top 10 best Ninja Turtle games. I saw this article, so I just had to give this a watch, or read, I should say. And what better to do it than to read it with you beautiful people who are watching this video. So I want to say thank you guys for watching this video. It does mean a lot to me. But let's give this a read, shall we? So, at number 10, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Battle Nexus. It's a fun game. Actually, let me stop sharing for a second. I want to also put a disclaimer too that some of these games that are on the list, maybe on the list, I should say, pretty sure you guys can play on the Cowabunga Collection. The Cowabunga Collection's on the PlayStation 4 and 5. I believe it's on the Xbox as well. I know it's on the Switch because I also got the Switch version of this. I don't know all the systems it's on, but yeah, fun game. Classic. It has like a plethora of action games, like plethora, say, of classic Ninja Turtle games. Definitely recommend, especially if you guys want to play some titles that may be on this list that we're going to go over in this video. Anyways, going back to said article, TMNT 2, Battle Nexus, came out in the year 2004. It came out on the GameCube, Xbox, PC, and PlayStation 2. We start with a 2004 iteration of the old TMNT beat-em-up style game. While it may lack some of the nostalgia factor of some games on the list, it's still a solid showing of tons to do, and an art style, say, that comes very close to the TMNT cartoon of the era. I remember playing that game. It was a really fun game. I believe I have this particular one on the GameCube. If not the GameCube, then the PS2. Really fun game. If you guys haven't played it, or was at least seen the cutscene to it, I do recommend doing it. It's based off the 2003 cartoon, the ones that I grew up with, and man, it's I have to say it's a really good game. From what I can remember when remember playing it, it was really fun. So the next game we're going to go into is Radical Rescue, which came out in 1993 on the Game Boy. Why is this? I guess like some will say the year before, or is that the only one that has the year before? Yeah, this is the only one that has the year before. Okay, there's this one. Anyways, Radical Rescue. Before Metroidvania was a term, there was Radical Rescue. In this Game Boy exclusive, you play as Michelangelo as a search for the rest of the turtles. On the search for the rest of the turtles. The sheer size of this game is shocking considering it came out a whole year before Super Metroid. Okay, I don't think I ever played that one, but it sounds interesting. TMNT which came out on the NES in the year 1989. This game, that's the game that started it all. TMNT on the NES was a game known for its absolute brutal difficulty. Its underwater levels are escapable, noted for being unforgiving. Now, it's a game that is unfamiliar with having with having sub 20-minute speedruns. So you can speedrun that game in 20 minutes? Okay, okay. Next one we will go over is the Manhattan Project, which came out on the NES in the year 1991. And I can confirm the Manhattan Project is on the Cowabunga collection. The NES sequel to the '89 hit was actually the third game in the NES trilogy. Released at the very end of the NES life, the cartridges. Man. I haven't seen those in a hot minute. But the cartridge was impossible to find, which drove its place into the multiple hundreds in the 2000s. Also, a marvel of how they pushed the console with minimum flicker, the amount of assets that were on screen. Now before I continue with the next one, I know some of y'all might be saying, "How can you grow up on the 19 to the on the old three Turtles show and know what the cartridge or?" I was 96 baby. I have some cousins that are older than me. They had some old systems. I know pretty much what they remember what they look like. Pretty much like these big car stocks. They can, memory strips and right. And correct me if I'm wrong in chat. These big like car stocks that you pretty much jam in the system, and that's how you play it. It wasn't like disc form like how this is now. It was big, practically cartridges. Put it jamming into the system practically. I haven't played most of the NES, but the few games I have played, which I don't really remember the titles, I just remember playing a few games. They were fun. I just remember the big, blocky looking discs. Anyways, number 6 is the TMNT game that was based off the 2007 movie, and it came out on the GameCube. The GameCube was based. This game was based on the 2007 film and uses it as an art style guide. However, the game is arguably just as good as the film, with critics saying it's one of the very few solid beat 'em up games on the Game Boy Advance. And I do apologize, I did say GameCube. Says Game Boy Advance. I never played that version of the TMNT game. I had the PlayStation 2 uh, uh, version of it. I think at that point, I didn't have my Game Boy anymore because, like, I remember one time I like got I got punished by my mom, so like she took my Game Boy away as punishment. And my mom being a goof or like misplaced it. I don't know if she was being a goof or an ass, but regardless, she misplaced it, whether it's on purpose or an accident. I don't know. Still to this day, I don't know if she did it on purpose or an accident. Anyways, so we just got it done with number 6. Number 5 is Hyperstone Heist, which I believe is also on the Cowabunga collection. Came on the Genesis in 1992. The Genesis, part of the Turtles in time, deviates from the source material a little bit in favor of the different story. This version has fewer stages, enemies, and bosses. So while some of the spirits look a bit, some of the sprites looks a bit crispier, is ultimately an inferior for some Turtles in time. Okay. Now this next one, which comes to number 4, I'm not saying like let's skip ahead. I'm not saying that TMNT Terminator Fighters or the 1989 arcade TMNT doesn't belong in the spots they're at. Me personally, I would have Shredder's Revenge in second place for me because, oh my god, just as that game is fun. I have streamed it on this channel, and the callbacks to the 80s cartoons fabulous, and I cannot wait for the DLC. But anyways, before I get ahead of myself, let's read. EMU, a developer known for reviving old franchises with care, took a crack at making a totally new TMNT beat 'em up, and man, blah, blah, blah. Let me .emu, a developer known for reviving old franchises with care, took a crack at making a totally new TMNT beat 'em up, and man, did they do a great job. Shredder's Friends it's a fantastic game. Getting your hands, and each character feels unique. There's even Easter eggs and references to other game franchises like Street Fighter in it too. It's a fantastic reboot for the game genre TMNT became known for in the 90s. Now, it like I said, it also does make a shit ton of puns so for the 80s cartoon. I love all the Easter eggs. And it was a blast playing it. And like I said, I can't wait for this Shocky pack. I think it's called Cell Shock to come out. Man, I cannot wait for this to come out. Like the DLC for this. I have this on the PlayStation and um and the Switch. Was my apologies. I didn't even say what systems it's out on. Because it says the systems TMNT Shredder's Revenge on is PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Windows, Switch, Xbox One, iOS, Android, and came out this year. And it's a really great game. If you guys grew up on the 80s cartoon, I highly recommend you guys playing it. Guys grew up when the when Turtle Mania was a thing. Like in terms of games, like the 90s, definitely recommend. Getting it. Even if you guys are 90s kids who grew up want to play like arcade games, I highly recommend you guys getting it. Guess it definitely feels like you're playing an arcade game, and it's so beautiful. You get to play as Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo, April O'Neil, and Splinter. And once you beat the story mode, you get to play. You unlock Casey Jones. He's kind of slow but powerful. And then, eventually, whenever the DLC comes out, Usagi. So, and it's like this is the first time. Not only are you able to play as Spencer, Casey, and April, to my knowledge, in an arcade game, but it's the first time in a Ninja Turtles game where you get to play with 5 different people. Kind of confusing at times where you're at with the amount of enemies on screen and plus your allies, but it's a really fun game. I love it. Like I said, Shredder's Revenge is definitely one game I will gladly recommend for you guys. Anyways, number 2 is Tournament Fighters. Easily the strangest game on this list, Tournament Fighters was also on the Cobb Logan collection. It's a cult classic in the FGC, trying to its best to capitalize on the Street Fighter 2 craze. This Konami developer 1v1 fighter was better than it had any right to be. It used cartoons and comics as source, so it introduced a ton of characters movie fans never heard of. But more than that, the music was simply fantastic. It came out on the NES in 1993. I forget if I mentioned that. I played a bit of it on the Comic Book collection. That's fun. TMNT Arcade 1989. The arcade that would create the foundation of. Wait, didn't it already have it? 1989. Yeah, NES. And this one's the arcade version. Okay, the arcade game that would create the foundation for many of the games on the list. The original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game was both revolutionary and fun to play. Released at the height of Turtle Mania, it was also a commercial success. Okay. But the one that I totally agree with is Turtles in Time. I played the arcade version, and because of this, the Comic Book collection, I played the NES version. I also like on the PlayStation 3, they've even had a Turtles in Time called the Resale Edition, where it was Turtles in Time but in like today's graphics, not the arcade looking graphics as you guys may see on the screen right here, but it's in a more updated form, right? It's still a fun game, but I definitely prefer the whole arcade feel. It just feels more natural. If I can find the reshow um cutscenes or gameplay on YouTube so you guys can watch it, I will also put that in the article in the description below as well as this article. So Turtles in Time came out on to arcades in 1991 and to the SNES in 1992. When when folks when most folks think about Ninja Turtle games, they think of Turtles in Time, easily one of the most iconic games of the 16-bit era. It somehow got even better with the SNES part. While the port featured all the finely tuned gameplay of the arcade version, it also contained bonus levels and new arrangements of the soundtrack. It was one of the first instances of the home experience being just as good as the arcade. And I agree, Turtles in Time is a classic. It's also on the both versions on the comic book collection, and oh my god, I remember going to like some like stores that's arcade. Nowadays it's like rare, and just playing Turtles in Time. The last time I was playing Turtles in Time arcade style was my mom took me out to this restaurant. I want to say like last year, and they had Turtles in Time, and I kept an eyeing it and eyeing it and eyeing it, and like I was trying to like spend time with my mom, but the Ninja Turtle side of me was like overriding me because like how many times do I see Turtles in Time in real life? Like I've seen like Pac-Man, some NBA or sports stuff, or like game areas, or like a few restaurants, like game stores, whatever. But like Turtles in Time is like rare for the FC. At one point, it was even at Chuck E. Cheese. So like, I had to ask my mom. I'm sorry, but can I? You wouldn't mind if I play a little bit of that Ninja arcade game, do you? Because it's calling my name. And my mom laughed, said, "Yeah, you can." So I played it. It was great, just reliving my childhood. But some of the games that were listed in this list also was on the Cowabunga collection, which is another reason why you guys should get the Cowabunga collection to play some of these games on the list that we just shared. But with that said, which one out of all the ones that you guys seen, which ones are your favorites? For me, two of them are my absolute favorites. The Turtles in Time. I don't care which system. Turtles in Time is my favorite. And the Shredder's Revenge. Both are my absolute favorite that they mentioned. But anyways, let me know how you guys feel about this article, and would you like? Do you guys agree with the placement for these games, or would you like change the order with some of them, or like replace some with another? Let me know in the comment section down below. Love you guys. Have a wonderful day. Be kind to one another, and I'll talk to you, fellow mutants, later. Later, taters.